Hey, what's up, Miami? This is 305 Sports Now. I am your host, Will. Thanks for watching. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And I just got to say one thing as the Miami Dolphins approach their opening season, actually their preseason opener this upcoming Saturday against the rivals, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their NFC rivals, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We cannot forget that just nearly a week ago, it was the Hall of Fame weekend. As the Miami Dolphins fans, and much shout out to one of our more vocal listeners or watchers, actually, Chris. All right, Chris brought it up to me that Zach Thomas once again was not picked to be in the Hall of Fame, was not voted on by his peers and coaches, but and writers as well. But the interesting part about this, I actually did in my Spotify episodes and other podcast platform episodes, I did talk about this, how Sam Mills, the late linebacker for the Carolina Panthers, was allowed to be in the Hall of Fame despite not having the same numbers as Zach Thomas. Now, a little bit about Zach Thomas, all right? Brian Urlacher, right? Brian Urlacher, the very famous and very well-respected, feared linebacker out of the Chicago Bears, has been an outspoken advocate for getting Zach into the Hall. And I completely agree. He's even talked about, look at Zach's numbers, his play on the field. So just a little bit about Zach, all right? Zach came from the University of Texas Tech, the Red Raiders. He was actually Defensive Player of the Year, right, for his conference. I believe it was a third or fourth round pick. You know, Jimmy Johnson had a good eye for defenders, and he drafted him. And right when he was drafted, right out the gate, Zach Thomas made an impact. He would end up replacing linebacker Brian Cox of the Miami Dolphins, the famed number 51, controversial figure, very vocal, very outspoken, member of the Dolphins. And he was actually in a battle at camp, all right, in a battle at camp with now current defensive coordinator of the Washington Commanders, Jack Del Rio. Jack Del Rio was a former middle linebacker of the Minnesota Vikings. He was let go by the Vikings. He tries out for the Dolphins. Zach beats him out. So Zach starting as a rookie, and he took the bull by the horns and went forward with it. Let me just read you Zach's numbers, all right? Zach's numbers were 154 total tackles, 120 solo tackles, 3 interceptions, one of them returned for a touchdown. Okay, that's actually his best year at picking up the ball was for Zach Thomas. All right, so Zach Thomas had a phenomenal career for the Miami Dolphins, and my personal opinion is that the Dolphins didn't go as far as they could have with Zach, not because of his fault or any of his doing. It's mainly because of the personnel that Jimmy Johnson had, not on defense, though, on offense. Dan Marino, basically what I'm trying to say is that Jimmy Johnson tried creating, Dallas 2.0 with Dan Marino, who was already an established veteran for the team, right? So what I'm trying to say is he handcuffed Marino. One of the things that I've always said that made great coaches great is the ability to adapt. All right, Don Shula was a run-first type of coach. All right, although he had Johnny Unitas at quarterback, okay, and Johnny Unitas threw the ball a lot. When he saw what he had with the Dolphins and Bob Griese was, of course, a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he also had 2,000 rushers in his backfield in Mercury Morris and Larry Zonka. The year the Miami Dolphins won the Super Bowl, Bob Griese only threw 7 passes, and Zonka and Morris and Kick all ran amok, that year against the Redskins. Okay, and then later on did the same thing against the Vikings. Okay, so but when Don Shula saw what he had with Dan Marino, took a step back, and it became basically a high-octane offense with the Marks brothers. Okay, you had Tony Nathan on the backfield as well. So you had a lot that Don had to go with. Okay, he had a lot of use, for Marino's arm, and the Dolphins went to multiple playoffs with Dan Marino. Didn't quite make it to the Super Bowl after, they lost to the 49ers because of a certain guy named Jim Kelly, a former Canes quarterback. The Buffalo Bills kept stifling the Dolphins and multiple playoff opportunities and so on, including an NFC Championship game. But nonetheless, Dan was the guy. Jimmy comes in, revamps the defense, tries to revamp the offense in the image of the Dallas Cowboys, and it doesn't work out. So the Dolphins were great at pass rushing, were great at stopping the run, were great at deflecting passes and so on with Terrell Buckley, Pat Surtain, and Brock Marion, all those guys, but they could not get the job done. They could not get the job done on the offensive side of the ball. And it's the same thing with Dave Wannstedt. Dave Wannstedt, 3 yards, a cloud of dust, run, Ricky, run. They just couldn't get over that hump. It was never Zach's fault. Okay, it was never Zach's fault. In the end, he finished his career off with the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, but in the end, Zach would finish with 184 games, 182 of those started. All right, with 1,734 tackles. Okay, he had 4 interceptions. He finished with 16 forced fumbles for his career and 20 and a half sacks. All right, so Zach had pretty much a Hall of Fame career. You cannot deny it. But I want to talk a little bit about the era that Zach Thomas also played in. Zach Thomas played in an era where there were a multitude of talented linebackers. All right, just to name a few right now: Greg Lloyd of the Steelers, Kevin Greene, Steelers and Rams, Junior Seau, San Diego Chargers, Ray Lewis, Baltimore Ravens, Derek Thomas, London Fletcher. Okay, so you had some very good linebackers that were a part of that era. Okay, so linebacking was very key because why? Especially having a good middle linebacker. Why? Because back in the 80s and 90s in particular, even the early 2000s, you had to have a balanced approach. Yes, having an elite quarterback more than likely got you a Super Bowl victory, but that always wasn't the case. In today's NFL, you need that elite quarterback. All right, you need that guy that could throw it deep, accurately, put a points on the board. But back then, if having a guy, having a quarterback throw for 225, 2 touchdowns, and a tailback running for 125 with a touchdown was very common. Zach Thomas took on the best running backs in the NFL. Nowadays, very few guys are Ezekiel Elliott or like your 1 through 3 down backs. Derrick Henry's a beast. Okay. Najee Harris. Very few teams have that. The Miami Dolphins themselves have a multiple set of running backs they'll throw at you. All right. So what I'm trying to say is that the running back position as of right now is a much more serviceable position than it was back, when Zach Thomas played. Zach Thomas took on guys like Terrell Davis, Eddie George, Jerome Bettis, Thurman Thomas, Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith. Those are the guys that Zach Thomas, and you saw some of them in the highlights, that Zach Thomas took on a weekly basis throughout his career. So what I'm trying to get at here is that the Miami Dolphins had the linebacker that set the tone. Zach Thomas was very smart, could hit his holes. All right. He also was not used in pass protection much, could do a zone type of a zone type of defense. Okay. You can never really put him in man coverage. You get beat by, some of the best tailbacks in the NFL. But the bottom line is that he was very good at zone, very good at reading the quarterback's eyes. So he would get some pass deflections, some picks as well. All right. But if you threw a bubble screen, you threw a screen, or you threw pretty much most swing passes and so on, Zach was there. Zach never missed tackles. All right. Never missed tackles. All right. Zach Thomas never, ever missed tackles at all. So what I'm trying to say is that if you got tackled, if you got grabbed by Zach, you were going down. You were going down. Ask Jerome Bettis. Ask Eddie George. Ask Thurman Thomas. Those are guys that knew that once Zach got a hold of them, it was over. One of the more surest tacklers in the game. Multi-time Pro Bowler, right? Multi-time All-Defense, okay, as well. In the AFC, All-NFL as well. So Zach Thomas was the guy. So what I'm trying to say is that Zach Thomas needs to be in the Hall of Fame. One of the reasons why I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame is because he wasn't like, like Ray Lewis, a flashy guy, one of those guys that you talked about all the time. Guys like Brian Urlacher, who dated Paris Hilton, and so on. He wasn't that guy. All right. He wasn't that guy. He was quiet, vocal in the locker room. Ask Nick Saban. Vocal in the locker room, vocal with his teammates. But as far as the press goes, very short and stuff like that. Wasn't a guy that, that you saw, doing all these things out of limelight. He wasn't that guy. He was a guy. He was a good old guy from Texas. All right. But when he got on that football field, that helmet was put on. You saw that 54, he was coming after you. And running backs knew that. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that eventually, no disrespect to Sam Mills. Okay. I know he passed and so on. But Zach Thomas needs to be in the Hall of Fame. He needs to be in the Hall of Fame. And I believe he will be in the Hall of Fame. But it should be sooner rather than later. Okay. That's my take on this. Right. That's my take on this. All right, guys. Again, if you like what you heard, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share to all your friends. 305 Sports Now. Also, please do not forget to go on Facebook, look up 305 Sports Now, hit that follow button, and become a member of our Facebook family. And remember, everybody, I do have audio-based podcasts as well. So do go to 305 Sports Now and look up on Spotify, Google, Anchor, wherever you get your podcasts. All right. Again, for me, this is the end. I am Will. See you soon. Peace. God bless and peace.